Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Hello dear traders. I hope all of you are good. It's time for another video in our simple series explaining the causality step by step in a very simple manner. So today we're going to talk about the net loss indicator. Please be aware, if you want to understand all details regarding this indicator, get the MCA video course on our website. But what we're going to do today is we're going to explain this indicator, at least in general terms, before we also look at some details. Now, normally I explain this one at the end because it's very powerful when traders realize that overall the dumb money is almost never allowed to get into any profit. And once you understood all the previous aspects I've already explained in the previous videos, you will basically see the proof for that in this indicator, namely that the dump money is in loss almost all of the time. Yeah, believe it or not. But let's go step by step. So, how does this work? This indicator has this middle line. If the red line is above the middle line, this yellow area appears. That means that dumb money shorties are in profit. Okay? If the green line goes above the middle line, we also have the yellow area. That means dumb money longies are into profit. And what can we see very quickly? Yes, shorties are into profit. Boom. The market reverses. They're pulled back into loss. Longies are in profit. What happens? Boom. The market reverses down and the dumb money buyers are back into loss. You see? So whenever the line is below the middle line, that means no one is in profit. Everybody is in loss. You see how powerful this can be? And of course, as always, we look at real life examples and all that. You see? Okay, so here we go on this forward chart of pound yen. So here, the green line is above the middle line, the yellow area appears. That means longies are into profit. What happens? The algos push the market down and get the longies back into loss. What happens then? They do a stop on, they clear the low. What happens? The few shorties get into profit and the algos push the market up to get the shorties back into loss. You see? Now, this is not enough to just trade on it. That's why I present this indicator as an additional indicator. Like, it doesn't mean that as soon as the longies are into profit, you should directly sell. Sometimes the move can extend before there is the reversal. That's why we use the other things. And we're going to look also at the combination of the net loss indicator with the squeeze indicator. And as you can see already here, look, once the shorties collapsed, then we had the big down move. Yeah. So those few longies went to profit, shorties are collapsing, so they're going to go down because they got kicked out with a stop hunt, yeah, like a long-term stop hunt. So we're going to come to that, but let's go step by step because then everything is easier to digest also on your side. Let's continue. Here, this is a day chart, and we can see this dynamic. Yeah, here we have a stop hunt below the low. Some of the shorties got a bit into profit, so boom, move up. Yeah, same here. Shorties got into profit. Those ones up move. They're back into loss. Yeah, same here. Shorties are into profit. The market reverses and they're put back into loss. You get the idea. Yeah. And here the opposite. Yeah, longies are getting into profit. Pull back at least up and down. They're pulled back into loss. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Into this. So this is another example. Now let's look a bit closer. So look, of what happens if a squeeze is there. Well, then the net loss area can extend because, think about it, if there's a squeeze against the shorties, those few longies are allowed a little bit into profit. Yeah, that can extend. Of course, at some point, once the shorties collapse, then they're gonna catch the longies who are slightly into profit. Remember the lasso principle. Yeah. But of course, the squeeze dominates. However, if you see that there is a net loss area and the squeeze is collapsing, and the main targets have been taken, prepare for a reversal. Yeah. Now, what I would like to say again, and I should be more explicit about that. You always need to look how much dumb money is actually in the market, okay, before using that for any trading decisions. Because if there's only a few shorties into profit, okay, and there's, for example, more longies like here, it's not important that those little shorties are a bit into profit. It's within the dumb money tolerance, okay? Once the longies like here have collapsed and the targets have been taken, then they're going to do the move up. But this can also be extended, you understand? Because those were very few shorties, they can get a bit into profit. But look at that, overall, look at this indicator. Here, no one is in profit over a very long time. Not shorties, not longies. Look at that. They're all losing. Then shorties come to market. The squeeze happens. They do the up move. They kill all the sellers. In that process, a bit of longies here. Those few ones here get slightly into profit, and even them get caught again once the shorties have been kicked out. You see? What's the result? Both are again in loss. You understand the logic? This is really an incredible bit of information. Yeah. Now, let's go a little bit more into detail. And here you can see it. Look, we had a squeeze against the shorties. Okay, we have that many sellers in the market. A squeeze mode. The market goes up. Very few longies. Look how low the squeeze line is of the longies. So in the extended net loss area here, those longies are slightly into profit. But what happens? Once they did the LTS hunt and the shorties collapse, they get kicked out of the market. Of course, the net loss dynamics take over with even some more longies coming in. So then we have a complete for our reversal. You see? This is very, very powerful. But look, we're not just shorting because there's some net loss area here, okay? Just because some longies got into profit. That would be too simple. We always look at the squeeze indicator as well, and how much the money we actually have in the market, okay? But it is a beautiful indicator. In fact, it's a meter level. Okay, and again, this is explained in the MK course in completeness. Alright, so to summarize, here you see that most of the time both longies and shorties are in loss. As soon as one side is in profit, there is a high likelihood that the market will reverse and pull them back into loss. Always for trading, check the squeeze indicator and look at what's going on, whether the squeeze is actually collapsing, and therefore like here we're gonna have a full reversal. Yeah, like here longies are into profit because they're doing an up move against the shorties, a short squeeze, but then the shorties collapse because of the stop hunt. The highs are cleared, and therefore the net loss dynamics take over with even some longies coming in, down money switch, so complete down move. Yeah, this is very tradable. And here you see, like, look, everybody's in loss. After the move down against the longies and some of the shorties get a bit into profit, it reverses and the shorties are back in loss. Okay? So, this is an incredible indicator. It shows that overall the dumb money loses. It shows whenever one side is slightly into profit, but always incorporate the dumb money tolerance at that point in time. Incorporate the squeeze indicator. And if you do that, it can be a very, very powerful addition to your trading. This is the last example we look at. Yeah, squeeze against the shorties, up move, shorties are killed, shorties are collapsing, so pull back, but then new shorties come in, again a bit of a squeeze, they take the stops above the high, but then all the shorties collapse. Those few longies are in profit, so complete for our reversal down, all the way to the low even here. Yeah. Because fueling position bars, fueling PB, some longies even came in, like I've explained last time. Okay, not very complicated to understand that, but pay attention to it. It's an incredible tool. It's part of the MK web, and do not ignore it. It can really help, especially for reversal traders and for traders who are always looking for big changes in the market direction. You basically can see when this is a possibility. Alright, I hope you like that. And if you don't understand anything here, please watch the previous videos. Watch them one by one in chronological order. and I'm looking forward also to the next videos. All the best. Happy trading.